Exactly.
And
Ignore him. Yeah, go ahead.
when I saw that he like just straight up skipped to the second third of the game, I don't know, like it's at the beginning of Jack 2 you skip really far away, and I'm like, okay, this is sick actually. And like what also like was really fascinating at first, like was the moves, right?
Mhm.
Like how you just play the game like a complete scrub before, and you realize that you can just like move around so freely in a game that wasn't supposed to be played like that,
Mhm.
you know. And then like that was in the back of my memory. I was like, okay, I would never speedrun Jack. I would never be that good. But then I found out that he like a couple of years later, I think it was like 2015, he started running drug free, and he did
Mhm.
runs of N%. Like also I was fascinated by the movement, but at the same time I was fascinated by like the routing and like how you cheese through the whole game.
Yeah.
Uh, I couldn't learn the game. I had to wait until he made a guide because I didn't like my brain didn't comprehend at the time that you could do like neutral movements. You have to like hold neutral on the stick to perform some of the movements. Also,
Mhm.
like back then, we didn't really know about version differences at all. So I just like, oh yeah, you just run the PS2, I guess. Like, let me pop in the PAL disc. I didn't know about Twitch either. Like, I just knew about YouTube videos back then.
Mhm.
And then like I started following the guide, and I had my PS3 hooked up to my monitor, so I was playing on the like actual proper controls in 60 hertz. So the movement started like kind of falling into place. And like in one of the Twitch VODs, I heard Ricky talk about this website called speedrun.com, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, oh wait, this is a really cool site. Let's check it out. And I found out there's like a leaderboard, and you can just see what people run what. And I was just obsessed with the site, and I was like, okay, so the best guy is Zem, the second guy is Super Squank, and I would follow both of them. And I will also follow Ricky, I think.
Mhm.
Uh, Actually, no, I didn't make a Twitch account first, but like I was just like hopped in on Squank's channel, and I was just watching, and I decided, well, let's make an account and just say hi or something. And I don't know, that was like my first experience of like interaction with the Twitch channel, like a content creator, and like as a really young kid, that like was really big to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just watched Squank all the time, even when he played like. He also plays a lot of like. He was second at the time, which was super impressive to me, by the way. Like, that might not be that impressive these days that like someone had a 34 back then, but to me, like when I was really young and I was like, you idolize content creators at first, even if like. I still have a lot of respect for Squank, but like he's not like what do you think about it as a top tier content creator.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I was just fascinated with watching his stream, and when I realized I could interact with it and just talk with him, and we would just hop in on Discord, and I would talk with other Ratchet runners, and I was just practicing Ouya at that time, and I would start doing offline like full runs, timing the. I didn't have like two monitors, so I would just turn off my P. I would have my PC on in the background, and I wouldn't see the time that I had. I was just like doing full playthroughs with speedrun tricks,
There you go.
and yeah, that's how I started running the game. Pretty much, it was just the pipeline,
Yeah.
the world record holder pipeline, and now
That's
I'm
awesome,
here.
man.
I'm not right now. I'm here. I'm like I have the world record at this moment at least.
I know.
Until so yeah, it was also like closer to Christmas, and I was like, "Yo, mom, can you buy me an Elgato for this Christmas?" That's all I wanted because I was just like fascinated with Ouya and
Mhm.
speedrunning at that time. Also, like, I think at that age, it was really good for me to like find a community of people to hang out with. It
Absolutely,
was
man.
it was Squank, Armin, FS10, who I also like found out through YouTube before, but I only knew that he made like You know, like those old ass DSP compilations of this is how you don't play something. Like I knew about it
Okay.
through. It was so surreal to like know like people who make like YouTube videos, even if that's like not huge content creators, but like holy shit, I'm meeting people, like getting to talk to people. Also like getting to talk to people from all over the place. Like I don't know. That was like fucking huge for me back then. Right now it's like small shit, you just hop in on Discord VC. But like also Discord was really new back then.
Oh yeah.
It was I don't know, it was fucking crazy back then. And I just played Ouya. I was fascinated with it. I didn't really care about like optimizing my runs that much. Also I was like in my early days I was more of a glitch hunter all the time. I would try to just find solutions for Ouya just to like make it easier for myself. The game wasn't really looked into back then. We didn't really know about a lot of the version differences. And I played on PS3. We knew that it was like, oh, it's just slower because we came to that conclusion back then because we had like one more loading screen for each planet in
Oh,
Ouya.
okay.
We knew that download was obviously faster than disk because disk is terrible. So I just play on that. Also, like the terrible thing was like some things would just feel off, some things wouldn't work the same. Also, turret clips, I had to figure that stuff out on my own completely back then. And I was just like getting frustrated more and more. And I would find out about FMCB, which is like homebrew that allows you to boot up programs on the PS2. And
Right.
and that's how I was just frustrated one time too many by the clips on PS3 because we didn't know how they worked. And I was like, okay, I'm getting the optimal version right now so that I just don't have to keep resetting. I was terrible at speedrunning back then, by the way. Like when you start out, you get trapped in like reset hell.
Yes.
That's like a thing that people need to figure out that like you just gotta finish your runs and roll with the punches. Like I couldn't get a sub 40 for the longest time. So just stop resetting. That's it. Just play the game more instead of the first two levels. Uh, so yeah, PS2 was terrible with FMCB. Honestly, I'm so glad we don't play on that. And yeah, just it was from 2015 to the end of 2016. 2016. I was just like playing the game. I was just fully invested in Ouya for the first couple of months, but like the end of the school year, I was like, okay, this is taking up way too much from my life. I beat Silence's run back then. I was like,
Right.
okay, I don't think I have much goals to work towards in this game anymore. I think it's like done for me. And you know, in like the summer of 2016, I was sad at the end of middle school because of like things I don't want to get into.
Right.
But like I was just sitting on my PC and I would hang out with my friends like that summer. But like at the end, like out of all the things that inspired me to come back, was like okay, so also I always loved licensed games, licensed platformers, and I loved BFBB. And like that's the time when Shift started popping up, right?
Right.
On Twitch, and like a lot of SpongeBob speedrunners, and I would watch a lot of that. And like Shift getting crazy runs was like, okay, this inspires me to come back. Also, so I checked speedrun.com for Rack 3, and I think that's when that was the influence of Zem's AGDQ run. Like,
Yeah. Tell me about that.
that's a lot. Like there was already an influx of runners because of them getting so huge. So I would see that there are like new people who started beating me. So I saw like, okay, there's this new guy called Magvin who's like crazy. He's cracked. I think he was like third place at the time. maybe because he was behind Squank. Squank was second place for a really long time when I joined.
Right.
And I also saw like one guy that you guys know, Scaff, beating me.
Hmm.
And so I came back and I like started popping off actually. Uh, I want to pull up like what time I got to by the end of 2016. Also, fun fact: when I started playing on PS2, like because the shipping from the US to Poland was so crazy expensive, it turned out that like buying a Japanese copy was more money efficient for me.
Yeah. I've heard that before. That sometimes, if we're Europeans, buying Japanese can just be so much cheaper, just because it's not as ridiculous for shipping, which is crazy to me. But
Yeah. So by the end of 2016, I had a 33-21, which was crazy improvement for me because I started out as this guy who couldn't get sub 40, and all of a sudden I was like catching up to like Squank, who was my idol at the time.
Mhm.
Zen was always like out of reach for me. I was like, okay, I can't get to that level. It's impossible it was impossible for me back then. I was like really young, and I didn't really know if I could like just pull it off ever in my life. But,
Mhm.
like getting 33-21, I was like, okay, this speedrunning thing, like I'm getting cracked, I guess. Like I'm starting to see myself like as being good, kind of goodish at this.
Yeah.
Huge confidence boost in my life. So I just kept on playing. I had a real struggle like getting the 32 bar to the 32 barrier. And when I got my 32, like Squank beat his run again, and I wanted to beat him. Like I don't know why. I just wanted to beat like the guy who got me into speedrunning. I wanted to ball him.
The student
Uh,
has surpassed the master.
and at some point I did. I don't remember when, but I remember that I popped off really hard. But at that time, like IN came back, and like we all were like, okay, IN is crazy. He might be like the only guy who can beat Zen. Like he might be like the only guy who gets the world record because his movement was just ahead of the game back then.
Yeah. Tell
He
me about that.
was he was a very risky player, IN, and I think that's it. Like his movement was just really clean. I think he had like way better intuitive understanding of the game than most of us did. I think Zem
Mhm.
also like for the longest time, like it was just all about intuition. I think it still is. I think Rack is all about intuition, like the movement,
Mhm.
at least for me. Like a lot of the frame data, like that's not gonna help you. I mean, it's gonna like help you in understanding the game a little bit, but like, you know, you gotta feel it. Also, like when Nada Holo guys started researching more into the movement, there was like a time when I finally realized Zen like was pretty sure of it all the time, but I always thought that Mega Flips were faster than charge booting for some reason. And at some point, I just adapted this philosophy. It clicked with me that like, okay, so basically, when you play Ratchet 3, it might seem really stupid and simple, but like pretty much you're supposed to charge as much as possible. There's like if you do anything other than charging, like if you walk or do anything else, like that's lost time
Yeah.
when it comes to movement. And I started adapting that mentality more and more, and I'm still adapting that mentality more and more as I play the game. I think that's like how you try to optimize this game. Also in Ratchet 2. I don't know to what extent because I'm more crazy about Ratchet 3 and Ratchet 1. I've never like tried to be top tier at Rack 2.
Right.
At least in NG Plus categories. But that's another thing. So yeah, 2017 I had my first ESA run with Ricky. Ricky like also tried I had like this competition. First, I had this competition where I tried to catch up with Squank. Then I had like a small character arc when I was like competing with Ricky, and then he like didn't want to play the game anymore. And I don't know, I would just always play this game in phases. Like I get demotivated, then I get motivated, then I play again. PS3 days, I didn't really, a lot of the time I wouldn't have motivation. Also, like that was when I was in high school, and the first years of high school, I really loved the game, but then I started losing my love for a game. And like when the finals came around in high school, I just like kind of rejected it from my memory. But then when I just like got through finals, I was like, okay, I can do the things that I love because now I'm free. Haha.
Right.
Well, that's not true because uni sucks. I hate it.
Yes. It's not free, that's for sure.
And I get burned out by doing nothing, which is my current struggle. But yeah, when my finals got by, I just started. When I was done with my finals, I started like caring more about speedrunning, actually, even more than I did before. So I would improve. Yeah, somewhere around that time, I think it was the end of 2017. I'm sorry that I'm jumping around with the timeline, but like we started playing on the PS3 because we finally timed the loads. I think we just really misunderstood the thing about the loads is that like every single cutscene in Ratchet and Clank, the original games, it's like a loading screen, right? There's like a black screen before the cutscene loads.
Right.
And the PS3 does it really freaking quick, so that like even if you get one more loading screen on the planets, like all the time saves in the levels, like they buy you enough time. And like
Okay.
so like whenever you go from one console to the other, it's like gonna be hard to adjust to. But after years, I realized that holy crap, like playing on the PS3 is just so much better. There's like so many advantages of playing on like hardware and not playing off a disc. I think playing off the DVD disc and CD discs is like what drags the PlayStation speedrunning so much. Like my dad says that it's like the worst storage thing that we came up with.
Oh, CDs.
CDs and DVDs, like he hates it. I hate it too. We're both like really messy people. Like my room and my dad's room were always a mess. That's like a character trait I inherited. So all of my you're damn sure that like all my discs and like freaking the PS2 lasers are dirty as hell. I'm sorry. I just like get too caught up with everything around me to like care about keeping cleanliness in my room.
I hear you.
Like that's a funny thing. Like I've seen people. There's like people who really don't care about having a messy room, and there's like people like my mom who get infuriated by it. Like I've even seen people being like, okay, like I saw a pic of like some dudes chilling playing Smash at like in the messiest apartment ever, and I'm like, okay, this looks cozy as hell. Like people in the replies, they're like, holy shit, this gives me so much anxiety. I can't believe people live like this.
How do you live like this? Exactly. Nah, man, it's controlled chaos, dude. I know where everything goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, my office is looks like a tornado went through here, but it's all good. I know where everything is.
So yeah. Also around that time, I don't even remember when, but like there were two people who came around that were really important for the game. And it was during the PS3 era. There was Ninja Ratchet and Whiffle. And I don't even remember when. I was just like too caught up with school and shit to like realize that like they came by and they were like crazy at the game and they were like grabbing me by the ankles. Like when I beat IN and got second place, I was like, oh, okay, I'm realized in this game finally. And then a couple of days later, Whiffle is like, gets a better round than me, and I'm like, okay, I'm not. Okay, I can like live with the fact that Sam is better than me, but I can't like be third place. And then also like Ninja Ratchet started getting better than me. Like when I was like completely like finals were destroying me, especially maths. I had to grind the hell out of maths because I had expanded maths, and that stuff is like actually challenging in like Polish finals. For some people it might not be. They might be like, oh, that's easy as hell. But like for me, it was like really challenging. But I also like don't get as distracted while studying maths. So I kept like doing that instead of speedrunning because I had to at the time.
Yeah.
I was pressured into it. And yeah, then like uni roll around and I just like don't put as much effort, and I started speedrunning more than the pandemic. So I was just doing a lot of speed games. I would come back to Ouya, and I realized at some point that like, okay, if I just play what I want right now, I will get good at that shit. And I would just like get on grinds in Ouya no QE at some points, and that's when I think I got the most improvement. Uh, then the pandemic rolled around. I started streaming more because I dropped out of one uni, and I was like, okay, I have a lot of free time on my hands. I'm also like pretty sad because I can't handle like this schooling system, but at least I can stream and I can get more into speedrunning even. So I started improving a lot in any game that I picked up, and a lot of the time I would pick up Ouya. Uh, and at the end of 2020, by that time, I was like, I improved to that point, and there was like the two new time saves, the free fall skip, and actually it was like the turret skip on mission 3. And I
Right.
was like, okay, my time was like 28, like sub 28:30, and I got second place again finally. Because I thought like I was starting to think that like, okay, Wiffle is too good, I cannot catch up to him, but I could finally, partially because of a new time save, and I was just improving at the game more and more. Also, the practice tools came out at some point in that timeline, so that made practicing way more efficient for me.
Nice.
So
Real
by
quick,
the end of
sorry,
I
real
don't
quick, Fred, not to cut you off. When did that practice tool come out? Roughly when?
the practice tools came out in, I think that was like way earlier on. I don't know. We had for a long time. There were people who like came up with like smaller hacks that allow you to save coordinates and stuff, but like people didn't really want to look into how to install them, or like there was this guy who was in the multiplayer community who came up with that, kind of. And I saw that video and I linked it in the Ratchet Discord, and some people were like, "Okay, this is sick." And I don't know when, but username like started making these files that made the game replace some of the values. Actually, I want to look up username's channel to know when that was, but I think that was like early 2020,
Okay.
or like even okay when I could find like I think that was like very late 2019 when there were practice tools around, but like not that many people knew about them. And also you had to like have a custom firmware on your PS3, which I had because I didn't want to buy the Ratchet Clank 3 for the fifth time. I'm sorry.
I will report you, I promise.
uh, so Username started looking into that, and he like first developed tools so that he could like do individual levels for Ratchet 1, and then he like tried to make some like those tools also like gave pathway for rack 1 tassing. They were like, and it helped like they improved, but like that's like where the task tools came out for rack 1, and that's partially why we have like an incredible all gold vault task by Alemusa that everyone should watch because it's honestly just amazing. It's the best video ever made. aside from the the no QE tasks. Okay, both of them are like the most amazing videos on the whole website. On
Yeah, the
YouTube.com.
NG Plus task is pretty sick. I saw that.
It's gorgeous. Oh yeah, when that task first came out, I was like enthralled by the struts, and I would just like I remember being in the Discord, and I was like, okay, how do I implement this? Like all of these tricks? How do I implement like a certain version that is more doable of this?
Mhm.
And like some guy in the Discord was like, write that down, write that down. That is scene from SpongeBob, right?
Mhm. Yeah, write that down. Write that down.
I think
Yeah,
that's
man. Good.
you first look at like something that crazy being executed and you think, okay, but like if I do it this way, maybe it's like possible. So, okay, so the practice tools came out. I started getting quicker and just better at the game quicker, but I was always distracted by things so that I wouldn't like by the end of the 2020. I was like, yeah, I could get world record in no QE, but I was just always distracted by something. It was like a different speed game, or it was uni, because I got into another uni after I dropped out of that one.
Right.
And I'm in this one right now, and I hope like I don't fail my second year. That was like the reason why I delayed the interview, because I'm just stressed all the time
Oh, I get you. I
because
get you.
of this. So yeah, 2021 rolled around. I still didn't have the world record, even though I could. I thought I could. I believed in myself. Like people said I was like frustrated. Oh, that was like also a crazy thing back then. Like I think in the middle of 2020, uh, and for a long time, me and them like have a fucking terrible relationship between each other. Like we just like we would criticize each other all the time. I mean, I gave them a lot of shit, and then he like gave shit to a lot of us back, because we would just like we were very critical of him, and it was like very complicated stuff. But like we started like respecting each other more. I don't know when, but I was like, okay, I'm sick of like us being childish towards each other. And I was like, okay, I don't want us to be on bad terms anymore. I don't know. It's actually that's like pretty complicated, partially personal,
Getcha.
but like at the same time, there was a lot of the times when uh, it was more between the Ratchet community in general and them, like being like them feels underappreciated in the community, but at the same time, the community feels like them cares more about growing his stream, and we don't know. Just like, what do you want? Like, you you don't care as much about being like a figurehead for the community. You just want to grow your stream more, and that's fine. I think that's fine. Like, if he wants to do that, like, I'm not saying that like it's a terrible thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can just like move on, but I don't know, this like complicated relationship like started like making it pretty tense uh, for me and them, and we would just like sometimes just roast each other for really stupid reasons. Like I would just like make a stupid rhyme about them not wanting to like about him not cropping his runs and submitting them to speedrun.com, because it would take him like months to like it would take like months for the rack 2 PBSPI world record to be updated. And I don't know, we would just all egg each other on, and it was pretty childish. And I'm glad that's like we moved on from that. We're trying to understand each other. Like that's also like Ricky helped a lot, because he like just come back to the Ratchet community, and he was like just like encouraging all of us to talk with each other more. And I think that helped me a lot in life and like understanding how like you don't have to be like spiteful towards each other and just like keep it to yourself. You can just like if you have an issue with someone, just talk to them. Like
Exactly. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like 2021 I had a lot of personal growth and the vacation rolled around and finally I started like uh, going outside and meeting people because I was like pretty isolated for the whole pandemic. Like complete like I wouldn't meet anyone in real life.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, when the summer of 2021 rolled around, that it clicked for me and I was like, okay, I practice more and I get better at Ratchet 3 and I finally overcame the mental barrier and I got my first world record in Ratchet 3, like the first no QE world record. Because for a second I had the NG Plus world record and 100% world record. But that was like a while ago.
What was
But
that
yeah,
like, getting the world record? I mean, you'd been looking at Zem for so long and thinking,
yeah,
I'll never be as good as
it
him, and now
was
finally.
it was surreal. I like it was a huge confidence, even though like it wasn't as huge as it could be when if I got it earlier, right? Uh, because I knew for a long time that I was capable, right? Uh, and it might even have felt delayed. I still like it was ecstatic for me. I will just be on a high for days after that. And looking back on it, that run was pretty sketch, but I didn't care at the time. I just had my first ever world record in no QE, the most important category, like a thing that like was on my mind for the last like since the Christmas of 2015. That was the one category that was on my mind all the time, and I finally got the like quote unquote ultimate goal. Even though we all know that like it can go down, and
Yeah.
it was pushed down eventually, and me and like all of us will eventually push it down even lower. Uh, it was ecstatic, and I don't know. At the same time, I feel like I kind of been at that time. I just like again got distracted from the game, and I would spend a lot of summer just also like I was finally could like do things in real life with real people. S- So not gonna lie, I fucking drank a lot with my friends and just hung out and did stupid shit this summer. And because I could finally, I was just like trying to live life.
Yeah. I get you.
Uh, well, I think that the circumstances where I got my first no QE world record was like pretty funny. It's very different than what you expect from a when I expect a world record holder in a game, I think of like some hardcore focused grinder, right? Like or someone who like, okay, I stream and this is like a professional thing I do. And when I got my first world record, I was just like hanging out in the VC, talking, shooting shit. It was like I don't know. It's like something that I have. I think that's a pattern I noticed that when I am in VC and just talk with people and can just shoot shit, I kind of like it kind of enhances my performance in gaming for
Yeah.
some reason.
You're
When I
not
can just
focused
be
on it. You're not thinking about it too much.
uh And yeah, it's just a huge mental block, honestly, overcame. Like, I'm not even, it's not like even that, oh, I finally performed well enough. It was finally that, okay, this mental block is over. I hit my world record and I don't have to stress about like losing it anymore. I can finally, I think it helped me play more risky right now. I
Yeah.
don't have to think about like, oh, this is like my one and only chance at world record. So yeah, that runs still for a while. Zem doesn't want to play the game as much anymore. He might be coming back soon, but I don't know. I think like me, Zem, and Wiffle are pretty much similar with the thing that like we'll just do the thing that feels right to do right now at the moment. I don't know. I'm kind of like figuring out that it's the best for me when I live in the now. I can't live in like I can't have plans or anything. My like a lot of the shit in my life is a mess because I can't schedule anything. So I just like right now I'm coming to a conclusion that okay, if I just do the thing that feels right to do right now, I'm gonna perform the best at it right now because I had a lot of like times when I was like, okay, I'm just gonna work really hard on Ratchet 3. Right now, I'm gonna force myself to do it, and I just wouldn't improve at all at those times.
Mm.
I find myself to perform the best and improve the most when I'm just de-rusting coming back because that's what I want to do at this moment because I just feel like playing the game.
I get you.
So that's why like some people might have thought that like for months I wouldn't want to improve the world record. Maybe I just didn't want to, I just didn't feel like playing the game. I didn't give up. It's not like I don't think at this point I'm ever going to give up on Ratchet 3. Like it's been so many years. I don't think like me, Zem, or Wiffle can like quit at this time.
I hear you.
We're just always gonna be like there's gonna always gonna be some moment in our life when we're like, okay, I just feel like playing this game right
You're
now.
gonna be 45 with 2 kids, and you're gonna be like, I gotta play more.
Yeah, I'm gonna be. I'm gonna
Gotta
have
get my record back from Zem.
It's gonna be more like I just feel like taking back the world record right
I get you.
now. And yeah, one thing that I wish for the future of this game is that like we finally get. It's pretty tiring to see the same people at the top 3
Mhm.
and even at the top 4. Yeah, Ninja Russia is still number 4. He came back at some point. And we were like, okay, Ninja Ratchet is also gonna like catch up the Zen level finally. It's
Mhm.
gonna be sick, but he doesn't want to keep on playing right now, and it's fine. I think we're kind of all like that. He can't force himself to play when he doesn't want to, so he's just gonna focus on the things that he wants to do in real life, I guess, or like any other gaming thing. So yeah, I just want to see like more new faces. I want to work. I have wanted to, but like as I said, can't schedule anything. I wanted to like make a new beginner tutorial, or like a strat encyclopedia in one video, where I just go through every planet and just talk about every single strat that I know, so that like I think a lot of people when they first play the game, they feel restricted to do the things that are in the tutorial and they feel forced to do that stuff. And that's the beautiful thing about Ratchet games that I'm never gonna get tired of. You have like so many things. It's like the movement and the maps allow you to have the sickest playground ever. You can do anything. uh, and yeah, I just want more people to feel that way. I just want more people to enjoy these games as much as I do. And yeah, now I'm sitting here on the new world record. I came back again after this summer and like a little bit of fall. Wiffle took back. I mean, he got his first world record, And I'm honestly like, and I wasn't. I think a lot of people would have like this weird misconception about world record holders, where like, oh, someone gets mad because they lost, quote unquote, their world record. I wasn't mad at all. I think that Whiffle is a sick player. He got his run without the triple charge and without the turret skip, which is still it's impressive as hell to me. Which just shows how much like his movement is so refined. I think his movement is honestly better than mine. I think I need to catch up in that department. Also, I think he's a more consistent player than me. But like, yeah, I think there's this contrast between me choosing to go for a very risky strategies that pay off really well, and with who wants more consistency in his runs. Because he knew that he could get a sick time without these new time saves. I wasn't mad at all. I was actually really happy that he got it. I was in a very stupid place in my life. He actually got his run when I got Corona, and I fell back so hard on school, and I'm actually just super overwhelmed by it right now, even though I don't have that much work and it just makes me feel worse. And I still like find bullshit excuses. I'm like, okay, I need to play Ouya right now. I want to. So, so that was like maybe it pushed me a little bit more to finally get the sick run that I have right now. I think it's pretty sick. It's improvable, definitely, but I'm happy with it for now. 2741. It's a good time for now. For me, at least. Like, I'm gonna play Rack 1 right now because that's what I want to. Uh, I love AGB. It's probably one of the most fun categories in all of Ratchet and Clank. All of speedrunning for me, at least. I don't want ever like to shove my opinions down someone's throat. Like a lot of people, I think there's a lot of people in speedrunning who want to like convince other people that their category is so sick and such. Like it's just the best thing ever, the second coming of Jesus Christ, but like I'm I'm just gonna let people enjoy what they want to, okay? Like you do you. Like we all enjoy our I like licensed 3D platformers, okay? I love that shit. I grew up on those games. And yeah, that's where I'm sitting on right now, 2741. Wiffle is a sick player, has great movement, but I think it's the best in the game right now. And I'm honestly like, if Zen comes back, it's gonna be sick. I'm starting to adopt a mentality of trying to ignore like other people. Like it might be contradictory to what I've said, like all of this stuff that I said before, but I'm trying to adopt a mentality where I don't want to like look at other people's improvement as much because it's never the same for anyone else. But sooner or later, I'm gonna try to compare myself and just gonna feel bad about not improving as fast as someone else. Uh, and I'm just trying to go at my own pace, honestly. And yeah, do you have like any questions right now? Nice. Uh, think uh, it's so crazy and impressive to me, like how much Zem pushed the game on his own. And I think he's very. Uh, I don't want them to take it the wrong way, right? But I think that like, okay, we all grow as people as we go on, and I think Zem for a very long time because he was so good and ahead of the curve and just like could practice more than other people. He was just able to, and he was like improving so fast. He was so crazy at track, but as time went on, and I don't think Zem is. I think Zem is just learning right now to deal with the fact that people are catching up. Like he even said it before that like sometimes he doesn't feel good about like losing world records and whatnot because at first it was like Skoro getting way better, and then it was like Rack 1 having a complete revolution in the way that it's played. And just like the way Zen played AGB and NG Plus was just completely outdated. To be honest, that game had like one of the craziest evolutions. It's actually super crazy to the point to which it got right now. Uh, and right now, like us like catching up in no QE, it was like for them it was like it's like he's starting to learn how to like deal with people catching up to him. It's just I think he's like really good with improving at his own pace and just like seeing what he can improve on himself. He is, but like for the longest time, he was improving so fast in Uya. Also, like it might have been that I was like really young back then, but I was just like it was unfeasible for me to like take like, how does anyone take an NG plus no QE world record? So yeah. I completely missed that part of the story. Oh, Haniwa is. Oh my god. I think that's a. He's one of the most interesting individuals in the Ratchet community. I legit believe that he's like the second coming of Silence. So basically, maybe not as much as a runner, but as a glitch hunter, and like also as a. He's an interesting character. Uh, so Hanua is a guy that randomly came one day and he just submitted a run that invented and like used the strats that we use right now, like proxies, way more than anyone else before. Like we wouldn't use proxies ever in like the no QE route. Like what was the point, right? We didn't really even know how to do them correctly. And he was just like implementing them. Also, insta whips. IN found insta whips, and for the longest time we were like, okay, this has no use. Like, no way. Like, who's gonna do insta whips anywhere? And Hanwa just took those two strats and he tried to do them everywhere on every single planet. He just like he was completely like the craziest crackhead. It's like what I said. It's like what I said before about like the freedom and finding your own solutions, but I just amped up to like a completely another level. He would just like try to do insta whips and proxies everywhere he could. Not even if it wasn't faster, he would just do it because it was like I don't know. It was fun. He was like it was really out of the box thinking. Also, he invented rhino bombing, and he like tried to implement more things such as like luck turning that we still haven't found that much use for. In the multiplayer for Ratchet and Clank 3, people are really proud of that movement and try to show it off as much as possible when they can, because it's really difficult. But I don't know, he's not that crazy about luck learning, but like he would try to implement that also. Like he would just try to implement a lot of crazy strats. But like that's also the crazy thing about Hanuma as a character. He's kind of, I would say he's kind of emo, or like tries to like keep himself mysterious, or like just distance himself from the Ratchet community. Where he just like he would delete his runs. I think that's like a phase where a lot of people go in the Ratchet community, where we just like delete our runs, like I don't know, delete accounts, do black and white streams, do weird layouts and such. I would also like go through phases like that. So yeah, Hanuma is just a crackhead glitch hunter. He kind of revolutionized the game in 2019. I don't remember when he submitted his first run, but those strats were just surreal when we were watching that. And for the longest time, there was like none of the top people wanted to implement that stuff, but Wiffle and Zem gradually caught up to the crazy way of thinking that Hanema had. And right now, it's just like a standard to do a lot of proxies and insta whips because like we finally adapted to that way of thinking. For the longest time, we would have new discoveries, so I think it just took time for the longer playing runners to like adapt to like those new ways of moving around. Yes, they were. They were found in Rack 2, but the way you did them in Ratchet and Clank 3 was pretty. Like at first, it was very iffy because we didn't like realize the potential that we could have with just swapping weapons. We would just time the proxy at the end of the charge, which is just terrible. It works terrible. And Squank would try to implement them because he was always also like a crazy glitch hunter. But Hanwha, like, look at that tech, realize, okay, if you swap your weapons, you can do it way more efficiently. And then he was like, okay, let's try to do this thing everywhere. Like every single slope, how do I use a proxy that looks really cool? And you can do cool shit with it. It's when you buffer an input for throwing a turret and do a whip jump immediately. It's just like a whip jump, but you don't have to time it at the end of the charge. You do it earlier because of swapping weapons and canceling weapon animations. It's not about consistency, it's just like spacing. It's about doing a whip jump earlier. It was found originally by IN. Also, it was found on PS2, and the thing about the PS2 that you need to keep in mind is the lag when you switch weapons. Uh, so yeah, back then when it was found, like you could potentially risk your run while swapping weapons midair. Because like sometimes the game would just lag out and force Ratchet to stand still completely. But on PS3, like that risk was completely removed. Because on PS3 for some reason they programmed the way so that the weapons slow instantly and they don't lag ever. Which is like one of the thousands of reasons why the PS3 is such a blessing for us. Thanks. I mean, I don't know. I hope it's like good material and I didn't just like blabber on. Yeah. I don't know. We talked about Hanuma and like the crazy top runners, and I think I talked too personally in a bunch of places. I hope that doesn't get into the documentary. Uh, yeah, I don't think there's like some other aspects of the game that needs to be covered. So yeah.